Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Everyday Experts. I am your host, Sir Joker, Achilles. I have a lot of different names. You can call me whichever makes you happy. I'm okay with that. Today, I have one of my very interesting friends coming on the show. She is somebody who I work with. I met about, I want to say 10, 11 years ago now. It might be 12 years. I don't even know. I met about 10, 11 years ago, and we were overcome by each other's magnanimous personalities. And then I figured out that her personality might actually be bigger than mine. I think she has more energy than me. She's always perpetually hyperactive. She's always happy. She's always smiling. I do trigger her to not pay attention, which I think's awesome, and I love that about me. Emelyn is a BCBA, which is a board certified behavior analyst. She has a license in that. She's a mom. She is married to the wonderful Mr. Kevin. She has a teenage daughter who is a borderline vampire. I told her I wouldn't say that, so I won't say that. Her son is awesome as well. They are the prototypical wonderful American family. I know a lot of them. They all are super sweet. I'm going to bring Em in with a quote. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little extra. Yes, Em, I do my research. Coming to the stage, the wonderful, the immaculate, the amazing Emelyn.
Oh my God. I can't believe you brought out my quotes. That's awesome. You listen. You really listen.
Of course I listen. So for the people watching, I am actually waiting for Instacart order. If I have to go off, that's why, because they perpetually get lost. But that's neither here nor there. Em, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am doing very awesome, very, very intrigued by this whole process. I purposely did not listen to your videos because I wanted to just have like a fresh outlook. So I really enjoyed your theme music. I was listening to it while you were talking. So I like that.
You informed me while I was talking as usual. It's good to see things not change. Awesome. So go ahead.
I think it's been about like 6, 7. I think we're at almost the 10, 11, past the 10 year mark, but definitely 11, close to there, I think.
Kind of interesting that we've known each other that long. It doesn't even feel like it.
I know. You met me before I was pregnant with Ethan, and he's now 7. So yeah, I feel like we're almost at maybe the 10, 11 year mark.
Yeah, that's right. Because M Jr. was little. She's a little baby M.
A little baby.
I love it. So,
little tall baby.
The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little extra. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But
I'm a little extra.
You are a lot extra. But okay, we'll go with a little. So, first question. You ready to take flight?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Right. First question. If you could be a wolf, a werewolf, a ghost, a vampire, a serial killer, or a witch, which would you be and why?
You didn't say siren.
You can pick siren.
I would pick
the list.
All right, from your list. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a serial killer. Let's too much. I couldn't be a zombie because I'd already be dead. A werewolf smells weird, I assume. I'd probably just be a witch.
Ghost is there too.
Ghost is there too? No, they're already dead. I think I would be a witch because I'm not supposed to be, I'm spiritual, but you're not supposed to, practice witchcraft or anything like that. So, but I probably would be a witch. And like the classic back in the day when we were kids, the ones that, definitely flew on the broomsticks. Maybe I wouldn't be one that had like a whole, like, what is it? Craft or like, what are they called? Covenants? Yeah, I'd probably be more solo and like have a couple of just people here and there that I would have if I needed help. Kind of like my life now.
So,
but I would be a witch. Out of your people, I would be a witch.
Okay, that's a good pick. A lot of people have been picking witch lately.
I think it's because it's Halloween.
Maybe.
We're close to it.
I think I only added witch last year, so I think before that it was probably a lot of people picked the vampire. But who wants to be dead? First question. You were in a zombie apocalypse. What would be your weapon of choice and why? And you can't choose Jen Valdez.
Let's see, it's a witch. Maybe a madam or something. Not a witch. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it.
Hey, Jen.
Jen, I met Jen through you, actually. And we became good friends because
I know now you like her better, but
now I like her. No, I like you all the same amount. We all trauma bonded for some other reasons.
Yes. You trauma bonded with her because you're friends with me. I got it.
Has nothing to do with work at all.
Not at all.
All right. So wait, what was the question?
You were in a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse. Oh,
what
okay.
weapon would you choose and why?
Okay, first of all, I don't like zombie movies or anything that has to do with zombies. And whenever I had a zombie nightmare, that meant I was pregnant. So I really don't like zombie movies. So yeah. So in my nightmares, I didn't have a weapon of choice. I was just a really fast run. So I wasn't someone who was killing them, but if I did have to kill them, and if I use the weapon, I'm really good at the weapon.
You would be good at it, I'm assuming.
I would be good at it. Then I would just do a gun or like, yeah, because a gun, you can do it from far away. I don't have to be that close. And if I'm that good, I would be like a freaking sniper. Just if I saw them in the horizon, kind of like spiders. As long as you don't cross my path, I won't kill you. But if you do.
For some reason, I don't think Jen even believes this post. But we'll just leave that there. Weapons are bad.
Right now, Jen so bad wants to be part of this podcast.
I asked her to come on.
Just chit-chatting with us.
Oh, maybe one day we'll have the
love it.
Degrees of Achilles. So, let's talk about Little M. Okay. What was childhood like? I know you don't remember when you were like born or anything. If you do that.
Oh, me, Little M. I thought you meant my Little M. Little M was someone who in school would get in trouble for talking and getting out of her chair. I'm talking in third person. In first grade, what I remember was that I would get up and just do cartwheels in the classroom. I wasn't really into school. I actually got left back in first grade. So I I was a a double first grader. So the second time I went to first grade, I actually did learn how to read and stuff like that. Um, as preschool, I was, I made friends with people, but I didn't necessarily like want to go and hang out with them.
Oh, like me.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. Growing up, before I would say like fifth grade, when I was in public school, I had friends in school that I talked to and stuff like that, but not necessarily did a lot of like hangouts. I occasionally did, but nothing crazy.
Okay.
Not until I think fifth grade on did I start like understanding social interactions and wanting to hang out with people who were not my family.
Oh,
But I really did enjoy hanging out with my family. They were hilarious. So
you knowing a lot of your family, they're a very interesting group of humans. What were your parents like growing up? Were you closer to your mom? Were you closer to your dad? Was it the same?
growing up, I would say I was actually closer to my mom.
Mm.
I pretty much told her anything and everything. Sometimes my mom would be like, too much, too much. I think now that I have children, I've gotten closer to my father.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I've gotten closer to my father. I mean, I had a good dynamic with my dad growing up. I wouldn't say that I didn't, but I also like with my dad, it was like you had to show respect. He is El Salvadorian. He came here when he was a teenager. So like now, my nickname for him is my dad's skinny because he's about my brother, so like he's skinny. So I call him Fat Boy because whenever we make really good dinners, he can't stop himself from eating. And I've learned that, that comes from when he was younger and, not necessarily meals, not knowing when that, the next meal came, that when it was really good, you would eat it. And then I'm like, oh, I understand that because growing up, that was how, we procrastinated and waited till my mom came home so she made to make dinner. So we would wait, and then we didn't know if we were eating.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm close with my mom, close with my dad now more. My mom now, it's more like she wants to fix everything, and I don't necessarily need that. I know she's listening, and this is why I'm saying it. I just need her to like listen to my feelings and not tell me how to solve my problems. I know how to
Oh,
solve
oh,
so.
I like it. I like it. So I think it's
Still,
really interesting that
still
you
love
did
her.
that.
Sorry.
Oh boy, brought the smoke.
Did.
How did your parents kind of influence you when you were younger? Did they kind of let you? I know some parents are just kind of like really hands off. I don't picture your mom like that.
My family always was behind me,
Okay.
whatever it was that I was doing.
Okay.
When I wanted to dance, I danced. When I was trying to do, when I was doing volleyball, they were behind me. Basketball, they were behind me. Track, they were behind me. So it wasn't necessarily like they were pushing me to do things that they found interested in. They kind of let me do my own thing.
Okay.
If I was interested in it, they would do that. When it came to school, I struggled with school. So they kind of were just like, they gave me parameters, like, just don't fail. There was a couple of parameters in high school, don't fail, don't do anything stupid, don't get pregnant in high school. Like that was like the main ones.
Okay. Those are good ones.
Right? Those are good ones. And I achieved all of them. I was a success.
So that's interesting. What are some of the things that you like to do when you were younger? I know
Uh,
you dancing and I don't know why, but running.
Younger, I really listened to, I love to read. I love to read. I would, in the summer times when I was younger, I would have them drop me off at the Comac Public Library because I used to live out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would spend the whole day there reading, obtaining books. So I was a big reader. I loved mystery, anything like Agatha Christie. Remember back in the day, there was the Choose Your Own Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my favorite. And then they had like Choose Your Own Adventures that were like set in different time frames, like
Mm-hmm.
Egypt or medieval times. I was really big on reading stuff about medieval times and anything Egypt. Um, what else did I do? And I would just listen to tons of music. My family was very big on music, so my taste in music is very vast. Hey, buddy!
Hi, Monique Diaz.
Hi!
Very happy.
I am. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, look at that. Everybody's coming out for you.
I know. I feel so loved.
One of the things that we share in common is being a Leo.
Right.
How do you think that is kind of exemplary of your personality?
I am the epitome of a Leo.
No, no,
Uh,
no. No, no, no. I'm the epitome of a Leo.
no. No. If there is a crowd, I'm in the center of attention. if someone needs, if there's a joke that needs to be said, I will be saying it.
I will say that you are probably a little bit more like extra, like outgoing than me. Not that I'm not. People, don't get me wrong. I'm very outgoing.
You are, but
I think M does trump me in that because I ebb and flow. I'm not always outgoing. I think you are always.
I am always outgoing, especially especially because there are times where I don't feel comfortable in situations, and that's just like my own personal insecurities. And then I'm like, well, I got to make myself comfortable. So that's where you'll see like the sarcastic comments or the jokes or the observations. Always there's music on the dance floor. The only time I won't steal the show on a dance floor is if it's the bride, if it's a child. Other than that, game on.
I don't believe you.
Game on. Oh no, a child.
I'm 50-50 on the bride, and I'll accept.
I might jump in with the bride, but I won't like push a bride out of the way to be like the center of attention. Just like you don't wear white to weddings, I have some bride moments.
Do you know?
I do. I do have respect for people, and I do want to show, common courtesy and things like that. When I was younger, it was more like, well, if I could take bullying, then I'm going to be a bully. And now I would say like, I'm all like, no. Let's just keep the peace. Let's just keep the peace. My daughter will tell you that I don't have any Leo qualities. She doesn't see it. Yeah. And I'm like, that's because I don't show them so that way you can be the center of attention. So.
Interesting. Very,
kids.
very interesting.
See, kids. And if it's a kid. So like in Aruba, for instance, I went to Aruba last year and we were all dancing in like a restaurant turned bar, like dance floor. And there was this little girl dancing and they were like, go ahead and go. And I'm like, no, that's all her. Let her do her thing. And you know, and I was like, nah, I'm not jumping in. I can't, even though I could, and I would. I can't.
So, hello, Mr. Giffen. This is one of my people that hang out and watch. And yeah, Mr. Giffen, her energy is going to
Get
probably.
infectious. Thank you.
I think it's more than infectious. I think it's like.
I hype you up. I hype people up. I'm a good hype man.
And I think it's interesting.
A
I
good
want to go off
wingman.
the court. I don't think you hype me up per se.
No,
It's pretty interesting. I think
no.
that
I think
I
you hype me up. But in like a not in the worst professional way. Like all the things that I try not to do at work, you're like, hey, and I'm like, oh.
I have nothing. I do not. I can neither confirm nor deny these accusations
Keep
being
it
thrown.
cool. Keep it cool.
So let's say
Okay.
10-year-old M, 20-year-old M,
20-year-old M.
and you now
Okay.
sat down for dinner.
Okay.
What would that debacle be like?
I think 20-year-old M would be impressed with the goals that we set and accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
I think 10-year-old me would be like, holy shit, we did all that? Because 10-year-old me was not into school whatsoever. And the fact that I went and got my degree in teaching, 10-year-old me would be like, but we hate school. Like we legit hated school. We hated writing papers. You wrote papers. You read those articles. You did all those things. Like 10-year-old M would be just in complete disbelief. Like that wasn't our goals. That like 10-year-old M was either going to be a fashion designer or a lawyer or I was going to be a physical therapist.
A fashion designer. You like fashion?
No.
Okay, that tracks then. That's perfectly M, yes.
No, what I liked doing, 10-year-old and lower M my mom got me this, I don't even know what it's called. It was called like fashion design, and you would have different like clothing options, and it was almost like paper dolls, but you would draw on tracing paper. And I enjoyed mixing different colors together. So I would make a dress, but then I would do different patterns or different color with it and stuff like that. So that part, I was like, oh, I could be a fashion designer. And then I saw what came into it, and I was like, no, that's not me.
Now, I know you have when you're focused studio side, and I know you have an adventurous side and like a whole outdoorsy side, which is disgusting, but you know,
I'm not outdoorsy. That's just it.
Okay. That's tracks for you. I do all the outdoor stuff. No, I like it.
I do outdoor stuff, but I don't necessarily like it.
Well, my question was gonna be, why do you do it?
Why do I do it?
Why do you do like all the outdoor stuff?
It has to do with exercise.
Okay.
Like it's just a different way. Like to me, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do a hike. That's like exercising today. I don't have to go to like Orange Theory, or I don't have to do like weightlifting or something like that. And it's just something different for my body to kind of like, it's working different muscles. My husband likes being outdoors, and as a wonderful wife, I'm just kidding. I try to gear things that we can do together that will kind of combine both our interests.
Oh, that's so adorable.
I'm a team player.
You are very team player. Let's see. The question I was going to ask you was, do you have a creative side? Do you like to draw? Do you like to write? Do you like to like do music? Do you like to do any of that, or is it like on you, and you're like, I'll do it, I guess.
I will draw when I'm bored, or if we're in a, you've seen it, when we're in a lecture or training, I will start drawing. I was, like you said, you were like, what are you drawing? I'm like, at one point it was a mushroom, and now I don't know what it is. I do like color. So like in my planner, I'll try to use markers and color pens and things like that. That's where my creative side comes out. Um, but I don't necessarily have like, I don't have any creative hobbies right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
Okay.
I did before,
Okay.
but
What were those before?
fashion design.
Yes, the thing that you hated. That tracks me.
The making of dresses and things like that. That was like creative.
Can't
I would.
even see. Like when I saw you in a dress, I was like, I still can't picture you in a. I'm looking at you in a dress and like, this doesn't even make sense. I don't even know what's going on.
I know, because
This
I
is not
like to
tracking
be
right.
comfortable. But again, there's my Leo side. It's like, oh, I have to go out. Well, if I'm gonna go out, let me make sure I look really good.
So we're done with little M. Now we're gonna move on to big M.
Okay.
We're still talking about you.
Okay, got it.
College. You said you became a teacher. So how did you decide on college? Because you said you didn't like school. So where did you go to college? What did you major in? Who did you pay to do your papers for you?
No one. I did all my own work.
Okay.
All my own work. All my struggles. All my papers. Look, when I started, when I started college, it was I was going for. I think I was going to go for special education. I still kind of was going. I was gearing that way, but to work with like little kids, to do creative, like to almost be like an art teacher. And then I was going to good old Suffolk Community College, love it, here in Selden campus. And my boyfriend at the time, his parents talked me out of becoming a teacher because they said, "Don't you want to make money?" So I actually switched my degree to administration, business administration, which was great because I learned a lot about the law to sue people. It was great. It's another story for another time. And then I actually broke up with him, and that's when I started talking to Mr. Kevin.
Yes,
And
Team Kevin.
Team Kevin all the way. And I decided that I had one more semester, and I finished my business administration degree, and then I stayed at Suffolk and I took a bunch of education classes, and then I switched over to St. Joseph College. At that time, when I was working at Team Kevin, when I was doing my business administration, that's when I had to do an internship, and I did it at my uncle's girlfriend's salon. But now at that point she was just my uncle's girlfriend. Now she's considered Aunt Renee.
Okay.
And always will be. So
wait, at her salon, hair salon?
Yeah. So I did business administration.
Wait, hold on.
So wait. Listen. This is what I did for her. Ready?
Go ahead.
I worked at a salon. She was my boss throughout my college degree because I had to get paid doing something while also interning. So hashtag thank you, Renee, for paying me. So with her, I took her paper system
Mm-hmm.
I switched to a computer system.
Oh.
I found the what is it called? The salon software that she still uses to this day. I took all her clients and I put it on. She goes, "That's right." She also
I
does my
understand.
hair. Hashtag Shears Elegant Salon, East Norfolk. What else did we do? We did formulas. We put all her product in there, and she still uses it to this day. That was 2003. She's still using it. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
And then I suckered my mom into working there when I got my job, when I got my professional job, and now my mom's been working there ever since. Thanks, Mom.
What did your parents do growing up? We'll backtrack for a second.
My parents,
Yeah.
my mom, she worked at NatWest Bank, which used to be in Huntington, where the
Mm-hmm.
Huntington Squares are.
Mm-hmm.
She worked there for God knows how long. I don't even remember. And then my dad, my whole family were limo drivers. They worked for West. I forget what it was called. They worked for some company, and then my grandfather decided that he was going to open up his own limo company. And from the age of, I don't know, 5 or 6 until I think I was in my 20s, until 9/11. Until 9/11, they were limo drivers. Once 9/11 happened, it was very difficult because everything shut down.
Mm.
So they were limo drivers, and then in my 20s, my mom worked for Cablevision for a little bit, and my dad was working my dad's worked as a bus driver.
Mm-hmm. Who would have thought? So, let's see. So now, was there anything that your parents did or people around you did that kind of led you to want to be in the teaching field, helping people?
No, not my family. It was all me. None of my family are teachers.
Okay.
My family is very loving and helpful. They're always willing to help friends, strangers. I mean, in that aspect, we have big hearts.
Uh-huh.
I feel so nosy listening to people's backstories, but I don't really like this part of the show. It provides a lot of content. I'm sorry.
No, he said he does like
I'm
that.
sorry it's not interesting.
No, it is interesting. Because you see, like, because I know the whole growth. So
Right.
the growth, people listen, they're like, oh, because how do I get from
where I'm doing?
designer doing cartwheels in class to being a board certified behavior analyst?
I like watching people.
When did that develop? That's very good.
Always.
We're gonna go to your job soon.
Always
Watching people.
Always watching people. We had growing up, I had at least anywhere between 8 to 15 people living in my house. Yeah. I had uncles, I had aunts, I had uncles' friends, I've had brothers' friends. Like, I've had so many people living in the house that it just became part of it. The other thing I would have to say is that when telling jokes, everyone starts off really bad. And my Uncle John's advice to me was always like, watch what people laugh at. Look at what people think are funny. He's like, then make your joke.
Interesting.
So for comedy purposes, that is definitely where I learned that from. And then just watching how people react to things, was something I was always interested in. I think with certain things, with stressful situations, I'm really like laid back. Um,
Have no choice.
I know. So what I've learned is that like adding to the chaos does not help. So I'm not going to. So I watch everyone else go chaotic, and then I'm like, all right, let's figure things out.
Right. How
But
did you? How did you? So we met. I think we were trying to. We'll say somewhere like 11 years.
okay.
Uh, uh, I ask this question sometimes. I don't always ask it, but you've known me a long time. What were your first thoughts about like working with me in our interactions? Well, we didn't really work together, so
We
like,
didn't work. We didn't work together, but we had to do an intensive. We trauma bonded. I like my new word I found out, so I'm
oh,
using it. We trauma bonded over learning how to teach skip and that stressful situation that
yeah.
it brought on us. But I think my first thoughts of you were, wow, you are definitely very much out there and very like energetic. And then, but also, I also met your kids around the same time. And your kids are not like you. They are, but they aren't from when I saw them. Plus, we were in a library, so they were quiet.
You were
Where,
like, what's going on?
yeah, you, your external is what my internal brain is. So everything you do externally, I do it in my brain.
hmm
So like when we're sitting there and you start singing, I've been singing in my brain this whole time. um,
That's
but I was like, oh, I can work with you. I can definitely, we meshed
always
very
always.
well together. I was like, oh, I could do this. And I chose like legit, I chose always to do my skip trainings with you. That's how much I enjoyed working with you. So I was
Yeah.
like, because what I liked was my strengths were not necessarily your weaknesses, but you kind of were just great at skip. But like my strengths, your weaknesses, my strengths, and we were able to kind of like use both our experiences working with behaviors to really do a really good teaching lesson to the people that we were teaching at the agency. So
Mhm.
I think that's always great when you can mesh well with people.
Since we started talking about Skip, how did you go from kind of working in the hair salon, teaching, wanting to do special ed stuff, to how did you move into behavior work, like wanting to be a BIS and all?
So I did student teaching at DDI, and then I got a job there.
Okay.
I did it for 7 years, and I had students that were from like 13 all the way up to aging out, which is 21. And each classroom I had, my first year teaching, I had burnout, completely burned out. I was working with someone who at the time I didn't know was a had a borderline personality disorder.
Oh.
Like it didn't register until where I am now, that it made so much sense. But she definitely burned me out my first year, so I was very well aware of what burnout was.
Mm.
Um,
Yay.
so every year I figured out what reinforcers worked for my students,
hmm
and it took me 6 weeks to establish a relationship and a routine with them. And then from there, we would have a decrease in behaviors unless they were sick or they couldn't tell us something. So I was dealing with behaviors as a teacher for 7 years, and for like I've had the gamut. I've had people like scratch my face completely, like Braveheart, almost like destroying my cornea. I've gotten bit on my arms and my hands. I've gotten bit on my boob, my leg. I've been scratched. I've been kicked. I've been punched. I've been slapped. Um, The only thing I can say that I haven't had happen to me was, oh, I've been spit on, is them like throwing bodily fluids except for spit, like, urine or period stuff at me.
Mm,
So that's a bonus.
that's on it.
That's a bonus. So from there, I wasn't able to move up in that company. I
Mm,
saw what behavior, we called them at DDI, they were called unit managers. And I had a couple of really great unit managers, and they were board certified behavior analysis. And I learned a lot. I learned all my ABA at DDI. And
mm,
then from there, because they weren't gonna like promote me, I actually went to Free, our agency that we met at.
mm,
And that's where I started as a behaviorist, because I was at year 7, I was starting to see the burnout and I wasn't able
mhm.
to progress. So it was time for me to go. And sure enough, people were already looking. Like, I have to say, like, that was something that I was very blessed. Like, God opened that up very quickly and took me out and took me into the new place, which was awesome because I met you.
That's true. Thank
You're
you. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
welcome.
Um, Going from DDI to free, which is, I know it's different because DDI is a war zone and free's a lot more.
Well, DDI is a classroom. I
Yeah.
have 6 people. I had 6 students, and then I
Mhm.
had anywhere between 3 to 4 teachers' assistants helping me.
Mhm.
So we were able to do, when we dealt with behavior, like we played basketball in my classroom to kind of explain how to deal with behaviors. I use basketball terms. So
Mhm.
playing basketball helps me explain how to deal with behaviors. So like, zone defense, the big one, full court press.
They're
um,
always in a full court press. I don't
always
like. They're always in a full court press.
always in a full court press. But like zone defense, like if he runs this way, then
Mhm.
this person's picking it up. If he runs this way, then this person's going to deal with him. And then the other staff are going to deal with all the other guys that are in the classroom. So we don't, because
Yeah.
you didn't want casualties. You didn't want peers getting hurt, and you didn't want staff getting hurt. And this
Yeah.
is how we made sure that didn't happen. So then I went to Free, and that's when I officially became a behaviorist. Monique laughs because Monique worked at TDI with me. Monique was the one who actually helped me learn
Mm.
behaviors and how to deal with them, and
Oh,
how.
thank you, Monique.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you taught him so much,
she,
so thoroughly.
she did.
I know, so extensively. Um, so that's cool. So you became a BCBA last year.
Right.
Oh, she's blushing. She's blushing. So you became a BCBA last year, which means you took
2020.
what?
2020. I became the BCBA 2020.
Wait, hold on. Excuse the fuck out of me. 2020. She
2020.
became a BCBA. You
Yes.
got your license in 2020?
No, my license I got in 2023. My LBA.
So,
Oh,
like I said,
certification was 2020. LBA, where I could practice actually officially in New York, was 2023. And that was because
congratulations.
they were messing with my education and stuff.
So, when you decided to be a BCBA,
Mm-hmm.
that was why you were free?
No, I took all the classes at DDI.
Okay.
I
What motion?
did. I took them at DDI.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get my supervision hours. I got a majority of my supervision hours from them. And then when I switched over to Free, I actually had to pay someone to give me my additional supervision hours.
Oh.
However, when I was at Free, I actually dealt with a lot of more mental health issues there, like people with borderline personality disorders or schizophrenia or
Mm-hmm.
bipolar, or all that wonderful stuff.
All the fun.
So my ABA all the fun stuff, that I was like, what is schizophrenia? No.
What do you
How
mean?
to work with how
Google
to work with,
schizophrenia.
yeah, Google was my best friend. um but there I wasn't necessarily dealing with autism as much. I had a
Mm.
few here or there, and I was able to use my ABA techniques for that. And some of them I did use for the people that had the other diagnoses. So actually, I put my BCBA taking the test on hold because I was at free.
Oh, so they were just holding you back, huh?
They
They were.
were, but I loved it. I worked crisis housing, and I loved every minute of it. It made me a stronger clinician. It made me stronger in writing behavior support plans because they were continuous. Like every 30 days, I had to write either a new staff action or a new behavior support plan. Then from there, dealing with restrictions because both our agencies now and the one before had human rights. So
Mm.
you had to plead your case on why we needed, certain restrictions put in the house. So even doing that made me a stronger clinician. Having to fight for what I thought was right, like that definitely was something that was built at Free.
So we're talking about all of these fancy acronyms, BCBA and BIS and ABA. What does it mean to you? Well, first, what is a BCBA? What do you actually do, and what does it mean to you to be one? Why are you laughing?
Because I hate that question because it's so different. It's reviewing behaviors that there's like a whole like definition, and I don't know
I
it.
don't want the whole
I know
definition.
you don't want the definition.
I want it.
So you want M's definition. So what M's definition of a BCBA is a person that is looking at a person that we support diagnose and what society deems as it's not correct, if it's a danger to themselves, if it's interfering with their daily skills in life, then we are looking at what that behavior is, and we're trying to modify it. We're trying to either change it completely if we can, and if we can't, then we're slowly moving it to a more appropriate behavior that society will be okay with.
Mm-hmm.
Because society is not always okay with a person like flapping their hands and them going, why are they doing that? And parents get concerned because they're like, well, we don't want them to look differently at him. And it's like, yeah, but they're going into this environment and they're doing that because they're anxious. So we have to find a different way for them to stop that anxiousness. Let's get them. What's great now is I was telling someone, I was in a house and I was trying to find sensory items for this one particular person that we are supporting. And the staff goes, oh, it's cool. They have, I want to play with that. And I was like, yeah, you should. And he's like, no, that's not for me. And I go, it most certainly is for you. I go, what you don't realize is that there are adults who created this because that's what they needed back then. I go, your fidget spinners for adults. I go, your squishy toys for adults. I'm like, they're just saying, oh, kids can do it too. But half of those things adults are playing with. I used to use a pen cap. I would chew in school. I would chew on a pen cap until the point where I couldn't chew it anymore. And then teachers would say, "Are you chewing gum?" And I'd be like, "No." "What are you chewing?" And I would go, "A pen cap," because like I was anxious or I was like trying to pay attention and focus.
You?
I know. So yeah. So that's my definition of a BCBA. We're taking behavior and we're modifying it.
So when you talk about BCBA and you talk about autism a little bit, Do you have somebody that you kind of like see professionally, like you're like, oh, it's kind of cool what they do. I'd love to do that. Not necessarily look up to, but somebody who you'd like to be a parallel to what they're doing.
For a BCBA,
No,
oh,
professional.
just professionally.
Yeah.
Oh well, I think I would have to say that the bosses that I have right now, I definitely feel like I look up to them. Uh,
Okay.
One, now that I switched into this position, where she's no longer my supervisor, she even said it. She's like, "I'm your colleague," and I was like, "That's stupid. No, I don't. Does not compute." But they hold themselves to a very high standard,
Mm,
and they want me to be at a very high standard, and they're always wanting you to be better, in the sense of just not better like, oh, you should have done that better, but like always strive for doing a good job,
mhm.
for the people that we are working with.
Okay. I like it.
Thank you.
Very good answer.
That's why I'm still with them.
Yes. So now, what's your goal? Like, what do you kind of want to do? Do you feel like where you are now is someplace you can be for a long time? Do you feel like you want to go into your own private practice? Do you want to don't make that face?
I don't. I
Oh.
don't want to go into my own private practice. That might be like my ADHD characteristics. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of work. I don't. Where do I see myself right now? I really see myself trying to take the ABA applications and setting them more for the group homes that we're in right now. I have to do supervisions for registered behavior technicians and those that are obtaining their hours to become their own board certified. um, Jen's so funny. Where I supervise also those that are doing hours to be their own BCBA. So it's really, I think for them, what I'm trying to do is hone my craft where I understand teaching it. So to
Mm,
become a better teacher for BCBA, for ABA, for applied behavior analysis, for our current agency. So when I supervise them, I tell them my goal is to make you get my job. Like that's what I strive for.
right.
I want you to get me out of my job because you're not. But it's only going to make me strive also to continue to do what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to take over the world. My mom wrote "Take Over the World." I used to say that when I was a kid because in Pinky and the Brain, they would say, "What are we doing today, Brain?" And we would go, "Try to take over the world." So I would do that bit to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, no, that's too much work. I don't want to take
So
over the world.
that's a
I'll
perfect
just,
transition to the question that you don't want to answer.
like, I don't know.
I did say that one of the topics we're going to talk about is that you're never satisfied,
I'm never satisfied. Yes.
and I do think that. Well, you brought up ADHD, and we'll talk about neurodivergence. Do you feel like it's a good thing, or is it a not as good thing to never feel satisfied?
I don't. I think that
Oh,
it's
you
a
hurt my brain.
it's all. No, I don't think it's not being satisfied, and I think unfortunately that word "satisfied" it can be taken negatively, like,
Mhm.
oh, she's never satisfied. I mean, like you have, for instance, when I heard that, whenever I hear the word "satisfied" now, because my daughter loved listening to Hamilton,
Mhm.
and she would always sing it. There's a song that they sing, "You'll never be satisfied." And
Mhm.
I don't necessarily feel that I'm not satisfied. How I look at it is I always want to be learning. I always want to learn something
Mhm.
because that keeps your brain functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And I have dementia runs in my family. So I want to make my brain work as long as I can make it work for before it's taken away. It might not get taken away, but that's my goal, to just continuously keep learning, because it's great for your brain.
Is that kind of like a catch up? Because I feel like even though you did not like school, did you feel like ever feel like you were underachieving or not?
I was underachiever. I was very much an
Because
underachiever.
now I feel like you're an overachiever.
But that's part, see, and that goes back
I
to the
know.
neurodivergence.
I asked the
I
question.
see where you're going with this.
That's why I asked the question.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Um, I'm sorry. What was the question again? No.
Alfalfa.
It was kumquat.
No, I was asking about, is it the desire to constantly be learning, and it could partially be Alzheimer's, but is the desire to constantly be learning, is that kind of driven by the fact that maybe you feel like you want to know more and you want to get more knowledge?
No. It's more of, it's that problem solver in me.
Oh.
So the things that I'm learning are things that are interesting me and are going to help somewhere in my family. If it's like me, or like if it's my kids, or if it's, what is it? Just for those who don't know, they are the same way together in person. We are. I think we're just more jumpy. Like, we're just more jumpier with each other.
Yeah. Yes.
And Jen can't deal with us sometimes. Like, she does not like it sometimes when we're together.
Jen doesn't like humans.
But yeah, but I think that it's not because I'm an overachiever now. I do like to set goals for myself, because I do like to see what I've achieved. Because I very much can, like, be down on myself and be like, oh, you didn't do enough. And I learned that studying for the BCBA, because at one point I was just studying and I was really hard on myself, because I was like, you didn't study enough. And then I was like, and this is all internally in my head. No, I did. And then I actually created a whole visual schedule of how much I've studied in a day, for a month. And I have it still. It's like, it says like September and it's cut into days, and I color coded it. This is where the creativity coloring comes in. And I had it for how many times I worked out in the month, and how many times I how many times I studied in that time. So I couldn't bully myself that I didn't study.
That's interesting. One of the things that I think is most interesting about you is the way your brain works. You're welcome. I wonder, because you brought up ADHD traits. I didn't bring it up. You brought it up.
I know, but you knew I was going to.
I didn't. I left it open. Talking about neurodivergence, what does that mean to you, and what does that mean for you?
Neurodivergence to me now is like almost like a superhero. That's how I look at neurodivergence. The word, like, I feel like you're a superhero. You think differently, and there are different things. You're not society's norm. You're not a normal person. You're doing things and saying things differently, and some people have issues with it, and some people just get, oh, that's how you process and that's how you think.
Yes, I like it. Now, what does that mean to you, though? That's a great
being neurodivergent. To me, it just means that I think differently, and sometimes I'm not 100% sure whether or not my thought process is correct. So sometimes, like, if I
Mm.
get annoyed, if I get upset at something, I sometimes have to talk to someone and be like, you know, is this am I overreacting? Like, am I really overreacting? And like sometimes I would talk to my brother and he would be like, you need to calm down. Like, calm it down. Like it's too much. And I would be like, duly noted. and I would bring it down, because at one point I did not have a filter and I would get into a lot of trouble for the shit I would say.
I love it.
A lot of trouble.
I love it. Well, you know me, I'm an agent of chaos, so I love all.
Right. That's why we're friends.
I do like that though. We're going to talk about married life in a second, but I want you to ponder. Have you heard of purple cow in marketing? The
No.
purple cow theory. Purple cow is a marketing concept, which means that your product and or service has to be remarkable, unique, and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How are you like a purple cow, and how do you seek to find the purple cow in people?
Remarkable, interesting,
Unique
and
and
unique.
mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's more of like a vibe and my gut. Like if I start talking to you and I'm just not feeling it, there is no purple cow.
Mm.
There is none. However, someone could come in and be like, someone that I trust
Mm-hmm.
would say, "No, this person's okay. Like, yeah, this is like he's cool. Don't worry about it." And I'll be like, "All right." And then I'll be nice. I'll be courteous. I will have conversations with them, but then slowly my gut was right.
Mm. Okay.
And I'm like, I didn't want it to be so, but I was right.
What about the purple cow in you?
Oh,
How
in
do you
me,
how do
uh,
you purple cow?
how do I feed the purple cow? Self affirmations.
Hmm.
No, I'm kidding. Um,
I'm listening.
are
Carry
you
on.
listening? I will say, I would say that is something that definitely my mother instilled in me in a very young age, especially when it came to when I was interested in uh, gentleman callers. Um, she would say that I was a diamond and that uh, it takes more pressure to create a diamond, and that's what I was. The other one, I said it wrong, and she knows I did it. And then the other one was like she referred to me as like steak, like filet mignon, like a really good cut quality of steak. And she's like, "You're not a steak at like the supermarket where everyone can poke at."
Oh.
She goes, "You're like filet mignon, like a butcher cuts you and shows the person and then wraps it up." So pretty much from a very young age, my mother always instilled that I was pretty awesome.
Hmm.
um, and to have that respect for myself, and
Hmm.
then it's just me going, I have this respect for myself. I know that I may have my insecurities, but when it comes down to it, I'm pretty much awesome.
Hmm. You are awesome.
Thank you.
Mr. Gippen has a question.
Oh,
Question for
okay.
own worldview. Is it more introspection as a learned behavior or self-analyst after working in the field you do and having tools to do it?
Um, so
I'll
I
leave it up to you to refer to.
the way I kind of would explain this is I started seeing like a therapist to talk to, and I was told that I couldn't go to school to become a therapist to use my own tools of therapy on myself because that wouldn't be efficient. um, So I would say that part of it is the fact that, yes, in ABA, there is self-monitoring procedures that you can do, like checklists, things like that, to kind of hone yourself. But these were things that I was doing before I even learned ABA. So I kind of had, I kind of had some of these skills before learning the ABA. And that was from just teachers realizing that I was struggling. I have a filter now too. Yes. I have a filter now too. It was really bad before this.
Side note, your mom said you still are a state.
You still are. I would say I lost my filter once I got my master's degree.
Ooh.
I would say that.
Mm.
Or maybe, I don't know. Diaz, would you say like I was more professional once I left DDI? I think once I left DDI, I was more professional. I started on that more professional route. She's still there.
This is you more professional. Well, you try.
Stop. First of all, you said it yourself.
I just said you try. I'm agreeing with you.
She said yes.
Because there's times when I'm not trying to make you like deflect you. You're just like, oh my God, you go off on a tangent.
I go off on a tangent because sometimes I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do my work while you're screaming songs out. Or, oh yeah, see, I could do worse.
I never scream songs out. I always sing at my own level to myself.
Right. It could be just really loud though. Like you're affecting my internal thoughts.
So as we move into the bigger M, again,
right.
Still talking about you section, what's married life like?
I love it. He's awesome. He really is. He's just
Kevin is great.
Kevin is great. He allows me to be me, and I say he allows, but like not like in the sense of like he's like, oh no, you can't do that. Like that literally does not come out of that man's mouth. Anything if I say, hey, this is my goal, he's like, let's do it. When I was focused on, losing weight, no problem, let's do it. What do you need from me? Like he meal preps for me. He does. Like he's my meal prepper. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have lost half the weight I did.
He's your glue.
He is my glue.
Hold on, finish answering the question before you read.
Sorry. This is not good for me.
Go ahead.
Good. So Kevin, I've known Kevin since I was 19. I'm now 42. I've known him.
42.
I know.
And the last
it's good genetics. I know. I moisturize. I drink water. And dabble in drinking. I've known him since I was 19, and he was the one. I had an ex-boyfriend, and I would hang out with him occasionally because my ex-boyfriend wanted to still kind of be friends with me. And then he would just say these things that would like make me question myself. And Kevin, I knew he was a keeper because the ex-boyfriend said to me something like, I feel so bad for you. I'm away at college and you have to stay home, and you don't get to act like an adult. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I literally paying for my own college. How could you say I'm not an adult? And I left him to go hang out with Kevin, and I told Kevin that, and he's like, look, I'm not going to tell you who you can or cannot hang out with. He's like, but he's trying to make you feel bad, and I really think you should stop hanging out with him. And I was like, you're right. So those are the things. Like he's just always looking out for my benefit. Like just truly, I'm so safe with him. And I love him to death. And he's such a dork. And I love it.
So we'll come back to marriage in a second. Mountain of Thoughts said, and then what about applied behavior analysis would you like to see more widely adopted by society as a whole? Nothing. I'm just kidding.
Wait, wait a minute. Can you say it? Can you say it again? What about applied behavior analysis would you like to be seen more widely adopted by a society? Yeah.
ABC sheets.
Documentation.
Track sheets. Wait,
Documentation.
what did you say? Uh-huh. What?
Document times.
You were a raving bitch today at 12.
Oh
What if we did track and for our friends? What if we like our co-workers?
I'm gonna. These are way too intellectual conversation questions for me. I don't know. Society as a whole, I think it's more. I'll tell you right now what it is. I'm not as applied behavior analysis. We are not trying to control behavior, and control is such a like terrible word, because it paints us to be like we just want to control people, and that's not it. What we're looking at is we're looking at behaviors that are not good for the person to engage in, and we want to work on those. Like, if we have a person that doesn't like wearing clothes while they go to bed, there's nothing wrong with that. They might be hot, maybe we should check the AC. That's not something that I think I'm going to waste my time working on, unless it's like super cold and they are getting frostbite, then there's a reason. But thanks, mountains of thought.
I love it.
Yeah.
Auntie said M is absolutely awesome. I mean, she's a little overrated, but I get it. A lot of people like her. So
I don't know why. I don't know why people like me, but thanks.
Leo. Duh. Jen says the same thing. I don't know why people like.
I don't like.
We have dynamic personalities. We're going back to marriage. A lot of your friends, you've been intertwined in these weddings lately. What is it like? Because you've been married for what? 7, 5?
Emelyn's 13. I've been married for 14 years.
Okay, 14. I didn't know. That's why I was guessing.
I'll help you out.
Thank you. So you've been married for 14 years. Now, I know it's interesting when I go to weddings now at this point, but when you go to weddings, what's kind of like, what is it to see like all your friends kind of getting married? You're like, I've done this already.
Right now it's like food and drink.
Okay. So, and if you
food and drink. No.
No. That was your answer. So now, what's your answer for real?
My answer for real is that I'm just ecstatic that they're finding their person, and the thing is because so most of the people who are getting married, they've known Kevin however long they've known me. So the couple of weddings that I've gone to recently, so you've seen how I light up and I talk about my husband and stuff like that. And I'm just so excited that they get to do that. Like they found someone that they're genuinely are saying, hey, I am going to say I do. And then you were stuck with me. We can do the divorce thing, but you're stuck with me and we're going to do this together. The difference is that me and Kevin never lived together. Like we never lived together. I wasn't allowed to sleep over his house. The only time I slept over his house was a snowstorm, and he lived with his mom at the time. So there was that, and then
Mom.
his mom.
No, I'm talking to your mom.
Oh no, I called them up and I was like, it's a snowstorm. What do you want me to do?
No.
Oh,
I'm defending you. I'm
oh.
mom. Really? Okay.
Yeah, seriously. And
You're
then I forgot. And then we were engaged and we went on a cruise together. I still was with family, but we were in our own cabin. And that was like for 7 days. So that was the extent of me and Kevin cohabitating before getting married, where other people that have been getting married have lived with their partners for quite some time, and now they're saying I do.
If you were going to give advice to these said people,
Yes.
what advice would you give about marriage?
Communication. Communicate always. Whatever is bothering you, let them know, because if Kevin gives an example when he says this, because we both say the same thing. If you're mad about the way they're putting the envelopes on the kitchen table, say something now before it has a huge behavior 10 years from now. So communication. Communicate everything. If you can't tell your partner something, then you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Look at you.
Speaking truth. Yeah.
Yes, dropping jewels of knowledge. So it overlaps into Mama M, which is the last topic, like the last official topic. I'm going to read a quote. Bear with me. I know your attention span's like 43 seconds.
It's cool. I got this.
42. Okay.
I'm going to pick my nail while you're talking. We're good.
In the book, Pretending to be Normal, an author's note. The world that tried so hard to keep folks with an ASD contained in a tiny box that can make us feel like tiny stick people. I am a lucky lady who is prone to echoing the Beatles saying, I get by with a little help from my friends. Because my support group was so strong, even if relatively small. I learned to look back on my past and forgive those who hurt me and forgive myself for the mistakes I made. Pretending was my way of sharing how the newly coined Asperger syndrome could feel to people who had one foot in the neurotypical world and one in the autism world. So, the first part of my question is the idea of pretending. Do you ever feel like you were a pretender, or do you feel like you kind of just like fuck everybody else, thug life, YOLO?
Oh man, sometimes I faked it until I made it.
Which is called masking for people that don't.
Which is called masking, and I'm really good masking. Call it being a chameleon. I am able to adapt to any surrounding you put me in. So that is I was definitely good at masking. Anywhere I was with, I just had to feel, I just listened for a little bit to sense what the vibe was, and then that's what I rolled with. So sometimes I masked, and then those that I felt truly comfortable with were the ones who saw how I really am. So family saw very much unfiltered M. Like to the point where they were like, stop. 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 And then society saw a more filtered M, because I was out in society and there were certain professional wise, you have to, you knew who your managers were and how they presented, so you knew how you had to kind of present, and then slowly you would show little true parts of yourself to see how like they would take it, and then if they were okay with it, then you let that part of you shine.
Do you feel like you have one foot in the neurotypical world and one one foot in the spectrum world?
Yes.
How's that funny?
Yes, I do. I mean, now,
How do you navigate that? I'm gonna lead the answer. Go ahead. How do you navigate that? Because I know you're about to go on a tangent.
I could. How do I navigate that? Again, it's watching how people are reacting. There are times where if I have to get certain information across, I I cannot make eye contact with people because
Mm-hmm.
once I see how their body changes, um, if their eyes move, their eyebrows move, I will totally just stop what I'm saying, or I'll completely change the topic because it's not you're not listening, in the sense of like I'm trying to convey a message to you and you're just not there, or you just don't care. So with communication, it's a very big thing with body language. So if I'm not feeling your body language, it's not feasible. I can't talk to you. So, I mean, that's one way I navigate the neurodivergent world as opposed to the typical worlds. But I also don't necessarily allow myself to get into certain situations where I have to deal with that.
Mm. That's a very deep answer.
Thank you.
Do you? And also, the other part I wanted to talk about is I get by with a little help from my friends because my support group was so strong, even if relatively small. I don't. Does your support group, one, understand what you're going through, and B, do they still help you get by?
My support group definitely helps me get by,
Okay.
because just being my support group helps. uh, certain people will know certain things, other people will know other things, and that's how I'll get by. Like I don't divulge all information to everyone, which I don't have to, but I mean I definitely will like word vomit sometimes, and I'm like, why am I saying this?
Because you're you.
I know.
You're
I'm like,
like, oh my God,
no. Shh,
I have to say stuff
stop,
and say
stop,
more
stop.
stuff.
Shut up. Put it back. I didn't mean it. I swear.
So we're gonna use that to transition into parenting.
Oh my God.
I do feel like you're a natural teacher. Does that? How does teaching and parenting for you? Do they overlap? Do they collide? Do they go head first like two semis, or do they just
I,
coexist?
it depends on what kid. Emelina does not like sometimes the way I talk to her because she thinks I'm doing my ABA on her, and I'm not. um, right now she's a teenager, so at times when she talks to me, I can revert back to like high school and that's not always a good thing. So like I have to stop myself, and right now lately we're working on like both stopping. Like we'll tell each other like stop, and then say why we need to stop, and then move the conversation or just dismiss the conversation and come back to it later.
Very
Um,
quick parenting.
that's what we're working on right now, because my other issue is like you're saying that neurodivergent and society, what I'm having difficulty with right now with her is that she might be saying something sincere, but it sounds sarcastic and I can't decipher. So I'll just shut down because I don't know how to respond to it. And I'll just be like,
Does
okay.
that
It's like, okay, thank you.
does that go? Is that hard for you to digest, being that you want to be a problem solver?
Yeah. The what, and again, this is where that learner in me comes in, where
Mm-hmm.
I wanna learn. I guess you would call it being an overachiever and
Mm-hmm.
learning how to be better. Where I know, like, where she is right now, it is acknowledging her feelings and letting her actually problem solve and just acknowledge it. Like, okay, I understand this is how you're feeling, and then that's it.
So
With Ethan is still.
hold on, hold on, hold on,
Oh,
hold
I'm
on.
sorry.
No, I got you.
Got it.
I got you. What's it like raising a teenage daughter?
The sad part is she's 13. I still have, like, I don't know what, 7 more years of this.
The problem is that I feel that, like, honestly, the teen behavior and stuff like that starts at like 11.
Oh, for her, definitely 10. She
No.
started at 10.
So you have a good 10 years of teenagey stuff.
Yep.
Of
But right, yeah. But she's
you're
good.
right in
Like,
the beginning.
she's there are times where she's like sarcastic, and it's so good that I'm like, oh, that was good.
Yep.
And then and again, I'll just be like, okay, and I'll have to walk away because I'm like, I can't respond to it.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna come back to M.
Okay.
Junior. Ethan, as my son calls him.
Ethan.
Ethan. Ethan is 8 or 9?
7.
He's
7.
He's 7.
He's 7.
He is a whole lot of.
He's tallness. He's a tall drink of water.
Yes. When he got his autism diagnosis, how did you digest that? And you've been working with autism for the last 20 years, and just to hear that, it's a whole. That you tell me what you thought, what you felt.
I didn't believe it. They gave an example of, like, he was playing with his toys, and he didn't say, "Hey, Mom, look at this." And my response to that was, you told him that I was doing paperwork. I go, I'm like, in our household, once we say Mom's doing paperwork, he knows he has to leave me alone because mommy has to do work. So he's learned that. So I'm like, it wasn't. I really wanted Kevin to be there for it, but he couldn't, because I don't know if the diagnosis would have still. At that point, I was in denial, and then because it just didn't fit. We worked with I've worked with people who were in the autism spectrum, but they were significantly, like, moderate to severe, and he's more of like that really mild, where you're not necessarily seeing all the characteristics that they're talking about, because there's three different criteria they have to hit, but he really was lacking in the social and the communication, like he still is. And that's what I'm starting as
he gets
making
older,
him do more socialization now. Like, I'm starting to see it, because again, at home he can have conversations with us and he can do certain things because it's a different comfort level as opposed to being out in the big world. So we're slowly seeing it, but like the people that we're interacting with, they're wonderful, and they bring him in and they try to have him play and they try to explain it to him.
Okay. So being, as you know, I rep my squad.
Autism dad.
Kevin's an autism dad too.
Kevin is.
And we've had a little bit of this conversation, but I like to bring all the smoke to the table. What was it like for him, and not understanding autism the way that you understand it, him digesting like the whole idea of autism and what it means?
He didn't believe it either. Even when we talked to, like, his classroom teacher was like, I don't necessarily see it. And we're like, yeah, that's That's what we said. But when they were telling me it and they were telling Kevin, um, what did I said to them, I'm like, this is your job. I'm like, this is not my job. Like,
Right.
so I kind of have to take what you're saying as accurate. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
the same,
I saw Ethan.
you did.
Yeah.
Same, some of the same, because he's also diagnosed with ADHD. So and there's Kevin. um, he was, shoot, I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about ADHD, and you were talking about you about to talk about the comorbid diagnosis, probably.
No, what was I going to
You were
say
talking
about?
about ADHD. You said he has ADHD too.
I forgot my. I
That's okay.
I saw Kevin and I lost my train of thought.
I know. I lost my train of thought too. This stud muffin. So
He is.
what's it like? The differing personalities between the two extremes, because 13-year-old firecracker, and then you got Ethan, who's a firecracker in his own way, and
Mm-hmm.
extreme with certain things. What's the difference like for you, and how do you balance that? And now,
Uh, right now it's difficult because they have their
sibling.
sibling rivalry. Um, but like I want Emelina to kind of understand like this is supposed to be like his safe space,
Mm,
and like it's not like you're being malicious, but you're picking on him too, and you'll take other people's sides before you take your brother's side, and
mm,
he has his own issues that he has to deal with, and the world's not going to be so great for him. Like you shouldn't be either. You should be more that like loving, supporting person, and she is. But again, she's also only 18, and for me to ask for that from her, like I know, like that's what
mhm,
I want, but that's not something necessarily I can really ask from a 13-year-old right now, without her having um, animosity towards him. Like, because
mm.
there's that
Hard.
thing. It's hard because even when I first had him,
Oh, I know.
she was a great little sister, but slowly like she started to make her comments, and she would say things like, you love Ethan more, and I'm like, no, like he's a baby, I have to take care of him, but I had to take care of him while Emelina was doing her things and
Hmm.
stuff. So it's difficult. It's not
Is
easy.
it overwhelming between the two of them?
Yeah, definitely.
Does that make you a better parent, do you think?
Overwhelming.
No. No, not just it being over. Does it being overwhelming, does that contribute to you being a better parent?
Um, no. It overwhelming doesn't contribute to being a better parent because when I get overwhelmed, I think it reverts to me going, am I doing enough?
Are you?
I do so much. I know I do so much. So
Mm,
then it's like, and I have to talk myself like, and I have to go through all the things that I do so that I don't beat myself up. But there's always that voice in the back of my head that's like, you could be doing more.
mm.
Don't sleep. You could be doing more.
Sleep.
Don't
Sleep.
don't go work out. That helps your stress. Like right now, I haven't worked out really in like 2 months. So that overwhelmingness, yeah, I know, because of my knee. So that overwhelmingness is just like a little bit more because
Mm.
I don't have that outlet that I normally had to release a lot of stress. And I'm trying to find something, but I haven't found anything that's working.
Wow. That's
I
a
know.
lot.
I know.
That's a lot. Um, okay, so we're gonna ask you some fun nerdy questions now.
Oh, great.
Favorite movie?
I don't have one.
Do you not like movies?
I do like movies, but the problem is that I become satiated over movies and then I don't want to watch them anymore. So movies that I used to like, I'm like, oh, okay, I got one. I got it. It's Birdcage. I can watch that movie all the time and I'm good to go. That is the only movie. It used to be Dirty Dancing. It used to be by Jen. It used to be like Mel Brooks, so like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, but I've
Oh,
watched them so much. Yeah, that
mm,
that I can't. Always comedies.
mm.
Always.
That's interesting because I would think that. Oh boy, your mom.
I
Can
know.
mom can M do the interview, please? Um, no, but I think that's interesting that seems really in line with your personality because you're like we have really similar personality, which is scary, but it's true. Um,
Except you really like scary movies.
I
And
was gonna say, but I think like I like comedies, but I think and that would make sense for it to be more in line with my personality because I do think I default to silly too.
mm-hmm.
But I do like horror movies.
But see, also comedies are movies that I used to watch with my family, and then we would
Uh,
sit at night and we would just spit out movie quotes and things like that, and those are the things that like are near and dear to me. But comedy in general, it just makes you feel good, like watching thrillers or watching like scary movies.
they make you feel good. You're right.
When you deal with behaviors and stuff, you get that feeling sometimes, dealing with people's behaviors. So sometimes I'm trying to stay away from work. So the last thing I want to do is watch something that is going to make my heart palpitate, and I have no control of what's going to happen. At least with behaviors, I know what the outcome is. It's either I'm stopping a behavior or we're going through a behavior. But it's those same emotions. So I don't necessarily like watching scary movies and stuff. Plus, I'll think about the killing scenes while I'm doing something like taking a shower and I'm by myself, and that'll really scare me.
Mm. We go to sleep, have flashbacks of wives shanking their husbands, and Kevin's there, and you're just like, oh my god, it was a flashback. I didn't mean I really stabbed you. Favorite musician or singer?
It would be Prince.
Really? I never knew that. Interesting.
Who did you think it would be?
I didn't think. I thought you were gonna.
No,
Not necessarily. Not Taylor Swift, but I thought it would be somebody. Let me finish.
no, I'm listening. I'm like, okay.
Not necessarily Taylor Swift, but somebody like popular or something like that.
Pop music,
Yeah.
like pop music. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Okay, but no,
But-
Prince.
But I don't really hear you listen to music that much. I don't hear it.
No, because
No,
again,
more of like a singer, like you're more like in your headphones.
yes, but Prince, yes.
Oh,
But anything that has a good beat to it.
favorite song, favorite music to dance to?
No.
Oh, kidding.
Bachata? No.
Yeah, that was just
I would say 90s hip hop and R&B.
He's such a '90s baby.
I'm such a 90s baby.
I forget that we're 3 years apart. It's crazy. Interesting. One word to describe yourself.
Awesomeness or awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce. So your sauce. Okay, got it.
Awesome sauce. This reminds me of when we were back teaching skip and you were doing your icebreakers.
Oh my god. A little bit. A little bit. Do you have a favorite superhero?
I do. It would be
It's gonna be somebody I know, I think.
it's gonna be Rogue.
Rogue. I think you might have told me that tweet.
Oh, it was Rogue or it was Jean Grey. But when she was Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
I like Jean Grey. Yeah.
You like Emma Frost?
Emma Frost was okay, but I was more of, when it came to the X-Men, it was the original crew.
Mm-hmm.
From, when I got into X-Men, it was the cartoon, not the comic book, and it was the original one.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge comic book reader. I'm still not a huge comic book reader, but I do like movies. Best Joker, live action Joker.
Oh my god. I am going.
Ledger, Jack Nicholson.
I know. I'm gonna go with Jack Nicholson because that was the first Batman movie that I went to see with my cousins and my Uncle Miguel. So it'll go Jack Nicholson. It's like the same thing with Batman. Batman would be Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's a better, more acceptable answer than Jack Nicholson, but that's okay.
Well,
there's only one right answer.
Heath Ledger was amazing. He was an amazing Joker. He definitely was. But I would say that because of who I am, it would be Mr. Jack Nicholson.
It's not an acceptable answer.
Well, they get a load of me.
That's horseshit. All right. Let's see. Do you have a favorite TV show you watch right now?
Right now, I have been watching NCIS.
Oh, that's awesome. I think I was in like season 16 and I stopped.
So what happened was last December while the kids were on vacation, I was cleaning up our Four Seasons room and I was watching NCIS, like the repeats. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I forgot when Ziva came in. So it became this thing where I wanted to know when Ziva came into NCIS. And then I was like, well, I might as well just watch it from the beginning so I know why she came in. And then I just got stuck. And now I'm on season 18.
Okay. I think I'm on 16 or so. I saw it to the end of what they had on Netflix. I didn't keep watching after that.
I got Paramount. So I
have it too. I just looked. It's just so much. I look at that and I see like 45 seasons or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, it's ludicrous. So that's what I'm watching right now. That's my go-to. If I have downtime, that's what I'm watching. My kids think I'm very odd.
Last one. Do you have a favorite quote or saying?
You said my quote.
Do you have a favorite one?
That is my favorite one.
Well, then you have a second favorite one.
Not really.
Do you have a favorite song line?
I think, you know what? Actually, no. What is it? Here it is. It's my screen. It's my screensaver. So where is it? Because I don't know it verbatim, but it's like warriors don't give up. They pick up their shields and they fight. That's the other. Yeah, that's the other one that you saw. That's the other one that is like near and dear to me. So like when it comes to anything I'm doing, like when I want to give up or something, I remember, that quote as well. And I'm like, nope, I got to get my shit done. Let's do this.
Okay. All right, Em, we have successfully completed one of interviews. You can come back on. When you come back on, we'll talk about more fun stuff.
Good.
She said good. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to close out the show.
All right.
Shall follow up. So, thank you for coming on to Everyday Experts. It was truly enthralling to learn new things about you. Some of them, a lot of it I knew already.
Except for Prince.
I didn't know about Prince. You're right. I would have never known what kind of music you listen to. I just thought you were Swiftie.
No.
Or part of the Beehive. One of them.
I like some of their songs, but I'm not like a person that like has to follow someone. Like I don't want to be known as a Beehive. I don't want to be known as a Swiftie. I don't want titles. I don't want those type of titles.
Oh, you want to be different? That's so weird.
I want to be neurodivergent.
I want to be my own me.
I want to be myself.
I am. All right, peeps. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next month. I'm not sure with who or when yet, but that's to be discussed. Maybe I can bamboozle. Wait,
Prince
you're
William.
right. Well, he really did.
Thank you. And
You're
in
right.
he created that soundtrack too.
Yes. You.
Thank you, William. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
William. What was I gonna say? Maybe I get you to come on to my book launch show. My book is available for purchase. Being an anomaly, Em is supposed to be reviewing it, but I think she's gotten to the title, and that's it. Um, all right, peeps. Thank you for tuning in. So I will leave Em with this summation. They laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at them because they're all the same.
Fact.
And huh?
Fact.
All right. Thank you, Em.
You're welcome.
Joker out.